Hey everybody, welcome back to S&S Grills. My name is Mike with the Everyday Barbecue YouTube channel, and today I'm going to share a beer brat recipe with you. We're going to do this out on the Slow N Sear Kettle, and it's coming up right now. Once again, thanks for being here everybody. We really appreciate all your support. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, you're going to want to consider doing that. Hit that button down there. You don't want to miss out on any of these great recipes that we're putting out. Now don't forget, I'll have all the information you need to know, all the show notes, full recipe down in the description. Without any further ado, let's get going on this recipe. I'm starting here with a foil pan with a lot of onions in it. It's really important to make lots of onions in this recipe because they soak up so much of this good flavor. So I'm going to start by just hitting them up with a little bit of oil. We don't want to go too much here. I have a little bit of minced garlic and just some simple coarse salt and pepper. Now let's just get everything coated and mixed together. All right, those look good. Time for our beer. I went with a darker beer here, and I did pour enough in to cover these onions. This is going to reduce some during the cook, but it provides really, really good flavor at the end of this recipe, and we're just going to go ahead and make sure all these onions are coated. Lastly, we're going to add half a stick of butter to this. I've got some beautiful brats here that we're going to be adding into this cook shortly. Now we're just going to let these onions soak in this delicious bath while we get our cooker set up. We're using the Slow N Sear Kettle, as I mentioned earlier. I have the Slow N Sear in place. I have the water reservoir in place, but we're not going to be cooking with water today. Also have the drip-in griddle in place. I'll be monitoring temperatures with the S&S 500 remote thermometer that I ran through the probe port. Today's cooking temperature is going to be 325 to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. To achieve that, you're going to start with one full chimney of unlit coal, pour half of it into the Slow N Sear, and pre-light the other half separately. As soon as those are fully lit, pour those on top of the unlit coals and spread them out evenly. Then place the lid on the cooker, open those vents fully, and allow it to begin coming up to temperature. Once you get to within about 75 or 100 degrees of your target temperature, go ahead and start choking back those vents until you get it dialed in perfectly. Here's a quick look at what my final vent settings look like, but please remember, that's just a starting point. There's a lot of variables to this. Yours might be a little bit different. Now I've got my cooker dialed in. There's nothing left to do but to get these onions out on the cooker. We're going to start these out on the direct side of the cooker just to give them a little bit of a head start and let this beer and onions begin to reduce. And I'll see you outside at the next step. All right, we have been going exactly 30 minutes. It's time to move these onions over to the indirect side of the cooker. You can see the butter has melted. This has started to reduce. The onions are starting to become translucent and take on color. So now we've got this on the indirect side of the cooker. It's time to add the brats in. And what I want to do is I want to get these down in here. Just want to get those submerged. Okay, lid back on. It smells absolutely incredible out here, and now that we have those brats in that beautiful beer and onion bath, we're just going to let those cook till they're almost done, right about 160 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to give them a quick sear on the outside, then it'll be time to serve this whole thing up. I'll let you know exactly how long everything takes, and I'll see you when it's time to build the sandwich. So just 30 minutes of those brats soaking in that beautiful onion beer bath, they were done. I did double check that temperature with the S&S 100 Insta-Read thermometer. Then we just gave these a quick sear, about 30 seconds aside. Popped them back into the beer bath, and now I've let them cool just a few minutes. It is time to build a sandwich. Let's get our brat in there. Just a little bit of gravy. We don't want this bread to break down, but we do want to give it some flavor. Cut this bad boy in half. Cheers, everybody. Going in for a little more. So the first thing to hit me are those onions. They are absolutely out of this world. And of course, that bratwurst and that char flavor on the outside. And all this combined with some beautiful clean smoke from the kettle. This turned out beautiful, it turned out delicious, and it was really easy to do. Only took about an hour plus maybe 15 minutes of prep time. So that's it for today's video. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. Thank you so much. Remember, till next time, 2 zones are better than 1. And I'll see you on the next video.